Hello, our topic today is again the presentation, and I would focus on two aspects. The first is where to put my hands when I'm standing in front of an audience, and the second then will be, can I change the position in the room? So first of all, a lot of people do not know where to put their hands when they do a presentation, and we often see people having their hands behind their back, or maybe they put hands in the pockets, or cross your arms. And well, the question is, if I want to look competent and if I want to be convincing, where should I put my hands? Let's take the crossed arms, for example. A lot of people interpret that as that person is distant, he's closing, there are objections, but maybe it's just because I'm feeling cold or that's more comfortable for my back. But I can tell you something, it doesn't really matter what you feel once you do it. What is important is, what is the perception that others have, the impression that the audience has. And we have to be that honest to say that crossing your arms, the impression tends to be a negative one. We have to be that honest to say, if I leave my hands in my pockets, people might think, oh, he's very relaxed and cool, or maybe he does not put enough, let's say, importance to his topic. And you might have noticed already that I always come back to this position to have my hands here in the central position. It's in front of my abdominals. It's in between the hips and your lower ribs. And we call that position the neutral center. And I don't know any better alternative, to be honest. So if we have to exclude all those other positions that we could choose for our hands, what remains is the neutral center. It's like you have in your elbow a right angle and you're not able to stretch your arm. So of course sometimes you do when you have certain gestures to underline something. But this is the position where you always come back with your hands and the starting point where they move from. The neutral center, keep that in mind. And then next question is, where can I stand in the room? So we have this position that I'm using here all the whole time, which is more or less in the center of the room or of the stage. And then I could also walk to this position on one side and talk to you from this position and go to the other side as well and talk from this point. You know, in theater, we call those positions here in the center is the so-called static center. And the other two ones are the so-called dynamic centers. And what are they good for? Let's take the static center. So you might already have noticed that the static center is very, let's say, formal, official. It's a very strong position. So what is it good for? The static center is the position for, let's say, formal messages like welcoming, saying goodbye, saying hello, and also and especially for strong messages. So this is the position for appeal, for the core of your message. If I, let's say, pronounce my very important messages from that position, which is in the dynamic center, these messages lose a lot of, let's say, energy and power. So I have to send these important, strong messages from the static center. But what is the dynamic center good for? The dynamic center, let's say, creates more nearness. So it's less distant to my audience. I'm a little bit out of the focus. And the purpose of the dynamic center is to get into, let's say, really a direct interaction with my audience. If I want to discuss with you, I do that from the dynamic center. Once I ask a question, I pronounce the question in the static, and then I give you time to reflect, to think about it, and I move to the dynamic center. So you see that you can change positions on stage, not just because you want or have to walk around. Now you can do that on purpose. You can build up that scenario, static, dynamic. Which message do I want to send? Keep your hands in the neutral center, and everything will be fine. Thank you.